welcome to this week's video. I'm your host Fallopian Golem, and this week we're going to dive into a mystery that's only now 2 days old. On October 10th, 2020, in twitch.tv/Logic Defenders chat, an unknown entity by the name of the Dark One 6969 entered the chat. And to be more specific, it's the_dark_16969. Now, you may be asking yourself, how did all of this happen? And who exactly is the Dark One? Well, on today's video, I will dive into the mystery of the Dark One, and I will be discovering who it is. So please, accompany me on this journey as we solve the mystery of the Dark One 6969. Now, it began approximately 2 hours into Logic Defender's stream on the night of October 10th. And let me tell you, it is an ominous tale. When the chatter G-Ferg, otherwise known as Big G, entered the chat room. Now, he entered the chat room and immediately began promoting a friend of his who username can be summed up as the Dark One. The Dark One he is talking about, who we will refer to as the False One, because that is what the Dark One 6969 refers to him as, was not linked in chat by the request of Logic, so it will not be linked here. But shortly after the discussion of the False One, the Dark One 6969 appeared. At approximately 1700 hours on the eve of October 10th, 2020, is when our prime suspect appeared. Now, you might be wondering, why are we so caught up in discovering who the Dark One 6969 truly is? Well, let me tell you. After the Dark One 6969 appeared in the chat, alt account after alt account appeared in the chat, all of whom Master Detective Logic Defender figured out who they were, whether it be by confession or pure detective skills. All of them were snuffed out and vanquished, other than the Dark One 6969. Now, we have some key suspects in this investigation. Big ones being Yard and Max. Near the end of the stream, they were taken out of the prime suspect pool. We're going to look at the 3 key hints that the Dark One gave us. Hint 1. His real name starts with a C. Suspicious. There's only one person that Logic claims he knew whose name starts with a C. We ran through everybody in chat who had been in chat that day. Yard is the only person we don't know the real name of. Max clearly doesn't start with a C. Cance's real name doesn't start with a. His name is Joe. Logic, it can't be Logic because Logic's real name starts with an A. Can't be Logic. Rar, Espada4's real name? Josh. Can't be Josh. Solid, Justice. The only person whose real name starts with a C is Carlos. That bumped him up to prime suspect number 1 for a very short period of time. But that was, like I said, that was very short-lived. Because hint 2 is that he is not Logic's friend in real life, but he considers Logic to be a friend. This bumped Carlos up even further on the prime suspect list. Carlos being Router, a mod in Logic Defender's chat. But, hint number 3 is where Carlos gets thrown in the trash can. Now, hint number 3, was egged on when Kant said that, asked the Dark One 6969 if he was afraid of his sword, indicating the mod sword that Kant has in Logic's chat room. So the third and final hint that the Dark One gave before entering his slumber was that he knows the way of the sword, but not in Logic's chat. Meaning, he's not a mod in Alex's chat. So, who could that leave? Now, before I dive further into my deep delve of the evidence, what do we know about the Dark One? Besides these 3 key hints. The Dark One played very keenly into this Cthulhu charade. Cthulhu being H.P. Lovecraft's Arkham horror monster. First off, everybody thought that the name starting with the letter C was just reference to Cthulhu. But he later, like I said, he later confirmed that is actually his real name. So, you know it's not Cthulhu. That's a good sign. He stated that his favorite games were Darkest Dungeon, Cult of Cthulhu, and Arkham Horror. Now, I believe that this is just him playing into the Cthulhu mythos. Because I think this was something to throw us off his trail. I do not believe this is a real lead. So, we're going to throw that out the window. We're going to crumple that up and toss it out. It's gone. So, as I've been stating this whole video, who is the Dark One? Carlos is out of the question. It can't be Kant, because Kant's real name does not start with a C. No one knows Yard's real name, but there's a key piece of evidence that points that this isn't Yard. Yard never gives subs in any of the chats that he's in. And this man gifted a sub to Big G. Why did he gift a sub to Big G, you might ask? All of this started because the Dark One appeared in chat accusing the False One of being the False One and trying to get Big G to sub in Logic's chat. Now, very suspicious. This led people to believe this could have been Logic, seeking that sweet, sweet 250. But Logic would have to be the biggest brain of any big brain to ever big brain. Because he'd have to not only be playing video games at the same time, but also chatting in his own chat. Now, why would you link your card to a throwaway account to gift a sub after all the work you have put in to trying to get this man to sub? As I stated, this can't be Yard. Yard never gives subs. He doesn't even have a debit card, as he stated in chat, as he always sub begs. So, that excludes Yard. Yard is out of the question. Max is out of the question because of his name. So is Rar, Solid, Fallopian Golem, who is me, whose name starts with an H. Kans is out of the question, as I've stated multiple times. But there's one other key piece of evidence that we can prove the innocence of these people. After banning each of these people, Twitch IP bans people. If you ban one account, Twitch will IP ban other accounts. So, by banning the Dark One 6969, and having those people type in chat, Logic was able to determine that if our assumption of IP bans are correct, Logic was able to conclude that these people weren't the Dark One. Now, this leaves everybody off of our suspect list. This mystery can't be as simple as a lurker in chat making a fake username, gifting a sub to Toy with Logic, even going as far as to responding to whispers, toying with the man. Who could it be? And as I've stated, I figured it out. You have to delve deeper into at least one hint. You have to look at last names. He said his real name starts with a C. We didn't look at middle or last names. Now, I don't know the last name of any of these people. So, this has left me in kind of a tight spot. But I think I've discovered who it could be. Now, before I get into the full meat of the last name discussion, we're going to look at the mods in the other people's chats. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the mods in Kant's chat are Sub to Mr. Williamo, Just Call Me Sub 420, myself, Rusik, Siri the Samurai, Virtual, and Raw. As we've discussed, Raw's name doesn't start with a C. I do not know Virtual's real name. So, Virtual, suspect list, knows the way of the sword, appears in Logic streams, could consider him a friend. Samurai, also don't know his real name. Username starts with a C, so that's an inch closer. He's a mod in Kant's chat, appears in Logic's chats every so often, might consider him a friend. Rusik, don't know Rusik's real name, might consider Logic a friend. And then the two Williamos, we're not going to worry about those. I don't know. Third, the last mod, Nightbot. Now, it is not Nightbot. Throwing that out there. Not Nightbot. That's out of the question. The mods in my chat. The mods in my chat are Buried Comics 7, myself, because I'm the broadcaster, Rar Spot of 4, Solid Sentient H2O, Kant, Nightbot, and Streamlabs. Now, you may be asking yourself, out of all of those people, whose name starts with a C? The only person is Buried Comics 7, whose name is Chris. Starts with a C, knows the way of the sword, and talks to Logic enough to maybe consider him as a friend. He just moved up the suspect list. Prime suspect number 1. Buried Comics 7. Buried Comics 7, even though often not a sub-gifter, is a big enough memer to commit to this bit enough to gift a sub. But is he a big enough simp for Logic to try and bait Big G into using his own sub? Is he, though? Now this brings me to my final piece of evidence. I don't believe any of these people were using VPNs while Logic was banning. I don't believe it was Chris, because Chris was streaming at the time, and incredibly inebriated. Can't. All these other people's names don't start with a C besides Chris and Carlos. I do not know the last name of nearly any of these people, besides my own mods, except for Kant's. Kant's? Don't know his last name. Josh and Justice are brothers. Their last names don't start with C's, they start with J's. Neither do their middle names. Chris's middle name starts with a C. We got a CC. That's a big deal. Two names that start with a C. Last name starts with an L, though. Can't be Chris. There's one suspect we haven't fully fleshed out, though. Early on in the stream, Logic and Eric and everybody and Magoo kind of ruled this person out. Coming back to it every now and then, Cance and Eric still kind of trying to say that this person was the person behind it all. That person is me, Fallopian Golem. But am I big enough brain to simp for Logic and gift a sub in Logic's chat? Let's review the evidence. My name, Hunter Class. My last name starts with a C. I play games with Logic enough. Don't know Logic in real life, but I do consider him a friend. Final piece of evidence. I know the ways of the sword. I'm not a mod in Logic's chat, but I am a mod in my chat, Cance's chat, Rar Spot of 4's chat, and Buried Comic 7's chat. So, above it all, the answer they were seeking was right in front of their face all along. They're looking at the Dark One. The Dark One 6969 all along was me. And now, after 2 grueling days, the answer has come out. Now, I was away at, you might be wondering how I did it. How did I get past the bans without a VPN? Well, the answer's obvious. On my laptop, because I wasn't at home, I logged into the Fallopian Golem account, constantly chatting. And on my phone, using my mobile data, I logged into the Dark One 6969. Make sure I had 2 different IP addresses. Big brain move number 1. Number 2, I intentionally threw them off the trail with the game suggestions and deep diving into the Cthulhu persona. The Cthulhu persona was one I quickly imagined up because of the Dark One. Now, I kind of wish I knew more about Cthulhu. I've only read Cult of Cthulhu, the book, one time. And H.P. Lovecraft is a horrible, horrible man, so fuck him. But there's no doubt that Cthulhu has played a large role on the history of the horror genre. So despite the fact that H.P. Lovecraft is a horrible, horrible man, the legend of Cthulhu is very influential. So I played into that. I tried to pick 3 games that I thought Cthulhu himself would enjoy. I have played Arkham Horror, I've played Darkest Dungeon, and Cult of Cthulhu, which, as of recording this video, I'm not 100% sure is even a game. So, but, I relatively enjoy all these games. I wouldn't say they're my favorite games. The only game I could have given them that maybe would have steered them in the right direction, but I think it would have given it away, is if I said Dark Souls. Dark Souls is one of my favorite video games, as seen here by said tattoo. But I didn't want the hunt to be that easy. That's why at the start I threw that evidence away. Now, I came up with 3 very precise hints. The name, they didn't look further than the first name. My last name is in the open. Twitter, Instagram, it's out there. They could have just typed me up, and there I would have been. My last name and all. That big, fat, thick, juicy C right there in front of their very eyes. But they didn't. I eluded them. Now, with that off my chest, the evidence lined out, there's only one more thing to do. What is that, you might ask? Log into the Dark One, 6969, one last time. To close out a story that has only lasted a mere 2 days. I could have dragged it on. I could have started a whole second YouTube or stream channel, distorting my voice, covering myself in pitch darkness. But I wanted to put this mystery to bed. I wanted to give everyone the closure they deserved. And while it would have been just as satisfying for me to just have typed it into the chat, they would have been satisfied with that. But I wasn't. I wasn't satisfied with that. Which is why I have produced this video. For your enjoyment. Now, you might not have found this interesting, and this might only appeal to those who were involved. And that's okay. Because in the end, this is for me. Myself. I am satisfied with the mystery. For a split second, no one suspected it was me. I big-brained the big brains. And I'm proud of that. They went on to say things like, oh, he's talking too intellectually. Punctuation, capital letters, commas, everything. If they just paid a little more attention, they'd notice that's how I talked too. When I text, at least. Maybe not in Twitch chat. But it was easy throwing a whole new persona out there to be. So next time, the next time, what you think a throwaway account is, you have to delve deeper. Look between the lines and remember, maybe even the people you ruled out might just be sus. In a time of quarantine, in a time of COVID, where Among Us is the most popular game streamed on Twitch, you can't ever be not sus of anyone. Now I'll leave you with this. Sherlock Holmes once said, "How often have I said to you that when you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth." Thank you for watching. I will see you next time. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. I really didn't mean for this entire joke to go on for as long as it did, but I got really caught up in it, and I personally thought it was funny, and I got a kick out of it. So I'm sorry if I offended anybody or took it too far. A little cringy with the whole Cthulhu thing, but I thought it was clever. So big shout out to Logic and Cants and everybody in the chat who hung out and partook in this mystery in quotations. It was a lot of fun. This video was fun to make. I had this idea whenever I was like, nah, I'm not gonna reveal who I am. I'm gonna make this video on Sunday when I get home from where I was. I haven't made a video on Sunday in a while, so I figured this would be a cool little react video I could jump into. So follow Logic at twitch.tv/LogicDefender, Cants at twitch.tv/Cants, myself, twitch.tv/Fallopian Golem, and that's about it. You can check out my other videos wherever they are on the screen. I think they're on this side. And then you can check my YouTube out over here. Twitch links down below. And any other information you need will be down below. I'll see you next time.